and they know that they not like us. We ain't gon' do it. The only thing that can stop me is me. If you're doing this for the women you losing, do this shit for yourself. I do this shit for myself. They not like us, and they know that. They not like us. We ain't gon' do. They not like us, and they know that. They not like us. We ain't gon' do it.
Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah, let's get some noise in this house.
My style is the bomb, daddy bomb. My style, da, 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 da. My style is the bomb, daddy bomb. My style is the bomb, daddy bomb. My style is the bomb, that style, la, 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 la. My style is the bomb, daddy bomb. Real man of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Daily Profiler Statistician.
Mr. Daily Profiler Statman.
While others guess where the market might go, you crunch the numbers, projecting highs and lows with surgical precision.
The high of day, low of day, you've got them dialed in.
London Open, You've measured it New York over under. You've tested it Asia range. You've logged every tick since 2018.
No lagging indicators for this guy.
Only you can say, based on the last 47 days, there's a 63% chance the high of the day forms before 11 a.m.
Probability never sounded so small.
So crack open a cold one, because trading isn't luck, it's statistics and a really big spreadsheet.
It's Mr. Daily Profiler Statman.
Boom. Good morning, everybody. What's up, Mickey?
Good morning. Good morning. That song never gets old.
Dude, it just makes you feel good, dude.
Exactly.
It's a nice little jingle. Morning, everybody. Good morning, Chitaki. We got a good chunk of people in here, so let's get started. So, a couple things I'm gonna see. I'll do my analysis first, then we'll hand it over to Mickey. If you're new here, we do these streams every Friday. This is just an analysis and pre-market stream for kind of going over our trade ideas. I post Monday through, well, even today, so Monday through Friday. I post my analysis on Twitter, like in a written style. And so we thought it'd be a cool idea once a week, just like we do our live trade sessions on Mondays. We come here on Fridays and just kind of break down what we see, our trade ideas through video. And then, you know, we kind of get the day warmed up before we go and trade with the Pack Trade Group and the community live trade session. So with all that being said, good morning, everybody. What's up, Noel? Hey, Noel, good to see you here. Good morning. It's been a minute. Morning, Andrew. Morning, Julie. Morning, Drez. C. Theme song, yeah. Morning, everybody. All right. So the first thing that I care about is I always want to see where we at within the highs and lows of days. So we have an in statistic low of day. We typically make the low of day between 1800, 3 a.m., market open, market close. We have one of those. So the process of elimination, we have three other areas or times coming up here that we could have a high of day. 3 o'clock is impossible. Okay, because we made a new high of day at 6 a.m. So the next major checkpoint in time to potentially make a high or a low of day is market open. So how does that, you know, configure into what we see going into the market for today, and also with how live price is reacting with the live price action components that we use? The first major one being the P12, which is just the high and the low. That's this box right here with the midpoint. This is the high and the low between 1800 to 6. This is the first half of the daily candle. So if we're respecting the midpoint of the first half of the daily candle, that's objectively bullish. And so if live price is giving us some sort of bullish signature, what does statistics tell us for expectation of that bullish signature if we respect it? So if we respect this midpoint, the P12 mid around 23 or 25,133.50, if this is an area that price is going to respect, then I'm expecting bullish distribution all the way up here for a new potential high of day at market open. And then if we break this P12 mid, meaning if we come down and start actually breaking through it instead of respecting it and wicking it like you guys see us doing right now, and we start coming to the downside and we open up the market somewhere here below or at near whatever P12 mid, if we take the low for New York 1, and I'll let Mickey go even further in depth on why that's significant, then I'll be even more looking for extended cash flow longs to the upside off of market open. So, and the reason I draw this box for anybody that's new, this box I'm just signifying is the high and the low of the first 1 minute market open candle. So if market opens somewhere around here, there's plenty of distance for potential cash flow longs or extended target longs off market open towards the rest of the statistics to the upside. If we get a break to the downside, I won't really be looking for anything, especially on Fridays. If I don't get the setup that perfectly aligns with what I'm seeing, I kind of just take it easy, especially on weeks like this where we just had home run weeks, cash flow, or home run days, cash flow days. It's just been a good week overall that if I don't see exactly the signature that I'm trying to look for or capitalize on, I'm happy giving myself an extended early weekend. So trade ideas for today and what I see, and then also breaking into the daily profiler here. One very important thing to note is the fact that we have a very, very, very good low of day with 3. Now, we did the same signature. If you're in the pack trade group or in the boot camp, actually, congratulations to the boot camp members. They actually graduate today. And if you want to join the upcoming boot camp on October 18th, boom, scan that QR code right there. It's also on the top left. But we had the same signature yesterday as we are going into today, where we have 3 of the 4 different classifications that we care about. 3 of the 4 have met the low of day, both in time and distribution and price. So this is something that I'm going to keep in the back of my mind. If we come down here, if we break through this P12 mid and end up taking this low, this all goes out of the window. That's why we call this wargaming, or we're just going and trying to plan and put together different scenarios to then put a trade idea behind, because then we're going to be wrong about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, but then only one of them has to align that we have to put risk behind. So if we come down here to take this low, all this goes out the window. If we respect this low, we start rejecting off P12 mid again to come back up to the upside. I'll be looking to see either are we going to be doing a long false, short false, or long true. How does that play with what we could potentially do for the day? Well, now that we've just went short for New York 1, we can actually do this live. We can turn off both long scenarios, go for the potential short scenario, and now this is looking even better. So I'm glad we're actually getting this live. This is pretty exciting. So now that we turned off half of the potential variables of what the day could give us, now we've made it even more refined. You guys just seen this. So now we've removed 2 major scenarios that the day could be classified as, in addition to the, or in with what the tools we have. Is that we have a really good low of day with a short false scenario, and now we just went short. Statistically, we go false in New York 1 more than we don't, meaning if the high and the low of this New York 1 box, we took the bottom side of it. And so now coming back up here to take this high, there's a very high likelihood, because we do this more than we don't. So this gives us even more going into the day, that now my SpongeBob foaming at the mouth setup is, if we do form market open somewhere around settlement, Globex open, maybe we even come down, take this Asia OU, whatever we want to do, wherever we open up the market, if it's below this New York 1 OU, for those of you that don't really follow this or you're still new here, so price level 25,163.75. If we stay below this high in this area and form the market open somewhere here, this is a trade I am happy to put risk behind for some sort of extended cash flow target, because of all the probabilities that are in my favor to the upside. If we do a short true, okay, because obviously the highest probability is false, but if the true is still on the table, one thing that I'm keeping in the back of my mind going into this session is the fact that we do have a small little chunk of time and distribution here that we did meet a short true high of day right outside the window of 7 to 7:30. So this is something where if the only real thing I'm going to put merit behind this is if we open up the market and we stay below the market open by 9:45 to 10, that's when I'm going to start really taking this serious. As of right now, I'm just putting it in the back of my head, but that's what I see today. Just to summarize before I hand it off to Mickey, is we have a really good in statistic low of day with an out of statistic high of day currently, with the highest probabilities coming down to swipe this P12 mid and to take these statistics to the upside. So the trade idea that I'm looking for today to capitalize on is if we open up the market anywhere below this level, anywhere below 25,163, if we open up the market anywhere here and I can fit a cash flow target, if I can define my risk and fit a target in the war path of all of these statistics to the upside, this is the trade that I'll be looking for. Off to you, Mickey.
I don't know what to say. You covered the whole daily profile brief.
Well,
So-
I got a little excited because we went short live there, and I was like, well, shoot, okay, well, now I can get a little bit more specific.
the biggest thing you guys have to realize right now is there's still a lot of room on the table for this short true to be a consideration, right? Because if you look at the data, number one, because we went short, long true, short false, and we talked about this in the whole scenario on the wargaming this morning, short false is, this is still bullish directionally. So Asia was bullish, London was bullish, right? But because we went false, right, there's more probability of us actually firecracker into the Asia OU line right here, and that's near the previous day mid, right? And the biggest thing you have to see right now when looking at your probabilities is, yes, we went short false. Yes, there's a high probability that the false is going to happen. Wait, I mean, 65% probability that the false is going to happen. So that's the higher trade on the table. However, right, when looking at the high day, low day probabilities, right, because we did go short, right, this current high of the day supports the short true scenario, right? So looking at it like this, because we weren't ranging, because Asia and London wasn't contradicting, we don't expect high day and low day after RTH, especially with the range that we've put in so far. What we do have to consider, like, this is a representation of what the daily candle looks like right now. Now this 605 above P12 high and looking lower, right, is supported as a high of the day, right? And if that's going to be the case, because you're always trying to figure out, right, is the high of the day, low of the day, was it put in overnight, right? We can, based off the statistics, yes, one of these is a high probability high day, low day, which is why playing off of the New York Open is the best idea, right? So if we start ripping it upside, we can go in and solidify the fact that this 1800 is the low of the day. But if we get below and can't get back above P12 mid, and we have to accept the fact that this is the high of the day, we expect a short true, right? Especially since the high of the day price is 0.2 for a short true. It is going to be 0.2 to 0.4, 545 to 730. And like, so we're within from a time and price of a short true, which means the high of the day is in. Well, like, we've met that statistic, right? However, we know that that is a lower probability trade, but we still have to be aware of it. And if that's the case, then obviously the daily candle will go with something like this, will come violate this P12 low and turn the daily candle red, and we'll be trading in the body of the daily candle for the rest of the day to the downside. If we can't do that, and we find responsiveness around Asia OU and previous day mid, then obviously this stays the low of the day, right? And then we'll be trading, and we can expect this 605 to be taken out. And then we expect the daily candle to be green, right? So let's look at some of the stats outside of, right? So let's look at the Asia OU stats, right? Obviously, if we stay below P12 mid and 930, that probability becomes a 97% probability, and it has the highest mode and median at 930 to 945 of being hit, right? Now, for false, you can see it still has a high probability. It actually, this is one of the higher probabilities for when we go directional overnight like we did, right? This is a pretty high probability for this Asia OU. Like, obviously, London OU is always higher, right? Which has a 94% probability for the bulls, right? But we can't neglect that this Asia OU, from a time and a price standpoint, does have higher probabilities. So, like, we were covering this morning, like yesterday was long true, right? Long true, none. So the firecracker was there. But as you can see, and so Asia and London was bullish into the open, but that Asia OU had a 59% probability. Because London went short false on us, it increased by 25%, which is why, like, it makes for a really good target. Coming over to the P12 levels, right? Like, since we went short out the gate, right? What we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out, we touched P12 high and P12 mid, and now we're below it. Number one, what's the probability of this low getting hit? under the short true and short false. But then number two, based off the times these were hit, right? Which one is the market like pointing us towards more so than not, right? And so right now, right, if we go short false, right, we can see that 95% probability of that P12 high was to get hit, and it was to get hit at 6 to 615, check. And then 86% probability that P12 mid to get hit, and that got effectively met in pre-market too, right? And the mode is in pre-market, right? For a short true, right, we can see that that P12 high had a 57% probability, and then mid had a 95% probability. So today, like, it's going to be tricky because, like, there are stats that support downside movement, and now we have momentum shifting down, right? Shifting down for the day, and we have a supportive high of the day for a short true. So, like, it's going to be very important to see, number one, does price get here to the Asia OU previous day mid and bounce for us to continue higher? Or do we crash through it and can't get back above P12 mid, can't get above 930 open? And then we're going to have to accept the true side of the house and expect that today's candle is going to be a red candle to the downside. And that's how we're going to end the week. All right. So that's some different things I have. Like, Austin, let's hit up that one thing we were talking about.
Yeah, I think yesterday was a really cool example, and one thing we try to go over when one thing we try to like really hit on is when we see things that in the market kind of give really good like teaching examples, we want to double down on it. One thing we see a lot of the times on social media, and we want to start your guys' day with this. A lot of people want to look as if they can find exactly where the market moves and how the market moves and all this stuff, but that's not what trading is about. Trading is about having a system, having a process, and having something repeatable that you can with confidence do every day. Not winning, not losing, having something repeatable that gives you positive expectancy that you can do every single day. And one thing that we notice is people want to over-perfect their analysis and their trade ideas instead of just consistently executing the same thing day in, day out. They try to think that if I do this, it's going to protect me from a loss because I know that the market does X and Y. When even as hard as we want to try to over-filter, as hard as we want to try to over-perfect the analysis, and as hard as we want to try to be correct about this is where the market's going to pivot, or this is where the market's going to reverse, or this is where the market's going to break out from, we're still going to be wrong. We're still going to be wrong. There is still going to be hundreds of days in your journey where you're going to just be completely, you're going to look like the biggest fraud in the entire Wall Street. And that's completely okay because every edge has days. The market just doesn't give it to you. And one thing that happened yesterday that was kind of a cool little example of that is
well,
if you look at
Wednesday it happened too.
when
The opposite of the government shutdown.
Yeah. Wednesday and Thursday was like carbon copy flip-flops of each other. And everybody was bearish on Tuesday going into Wednesday. And then yesterday, everybody was bullish Wednesday going into Thursday because we're in all-time highs. And I get it. But the thing is, as much and as scary as this was to go short, my system said to go short. Our system said when we're making an in statistic high of day, regardless of if we're in an all-time high, regardless of if what president is going, who's saying this or what's doing that or what macro this, macro that, at the end of the day, this daily candle is still going to be printing. And typically that daily candle makes a higher low in 4 major times. And typically that daily candle will fluctuate. It won't just do this right here. It won't just create a body and just keep on going in a single direction and then close here. It operates just like a 1 minute candle. We all can agree, and we hear this all the time in the world, in the trading world. Price is fractal. And if you watch a 1 minute candle bouncing from bullish to bearish to bullish, and then it closes here, and then the next candle bullish to the daily candle does the same thing. The daily
Yeah,
candle opens, fluctuates, and I'll end with this, and I'll give it to you, is this fluctuation is these statistics that we charge, that we try to trade towards. These levels, these New York 10U being retraced, the high of days, all these little wiggles is the fluctuation of this daily candle. And as all-time high as we could have just kept on ripping, we were still due for a fluctuation in this daily candle of some kind. And so I will always stay with my process. Mickey will always stay with his process. We trade our process, not what we feel, because trading what you need to do every single day sometimes needs to feel uncomfortable, because that's what makes you profitable. Your system should never make sense to everybody else. Your system only needs to make sense to you.
Absolutely. And like I always say, the most important part of trading is the decision making, right? But in order to be an effective decision maker, like, you got to have confidence in how you make decisions. The only way you gain confidence in how you make decisions is going to be by doing the same thing over and over again, right? Like, and so like Wednesday, government shut down, overnight sold off, right? And we got a shortfall scenario in New York 1. Now, everybody who's been following me knows that shortfalls, right, is the highest probability, even if we didn't turn false, but short, the highest probability that you have to look for are those longs, right? That major pivot between 9:30 and 10 o'clock, right? They go long, right? And so, and then you expect the next 3 hours to go long. So Wednesday, like, everybody, everywhere I looked, CNBC, Bloomberg, even professional traders that I talked to, they all like, short the market. And I'm like, dude, I can't. Like, my system is telling me to go long. I'd rather sit out or take lower position size. Well, not even that. Like, I'm going to take my trades to the upside. And then yesterday, Austin did an outstanding job. And that's why, like, on Wednesday, I was like telling you guys before I had to jump in the room, like, listen, like, if the system tells you to go long to the moon on Wednesday, you go long to the moon. Don't worry about all the noise. And it delivered, right? Yesterday, the same exact thing happened. So we had a 400 handle day on Wednesday to the upside. Now everybody and their mother is saying long the market, long the market. Well, our system said long false, right? They expect 9 to 12 to be selling, and they expect a 9:30 to 10:30 high a day, right? And so, like, Austin did an outstanding job, because I was at Camp Lejeune yesterday. Like, Austin did just outstanding job, like, maintaining discipline with his decision making that is concreted in data, and like, that helps your decision making. Like, there's too much falseness, and like, there's false representation in what a trader is, right? Everywhere you look, you should be like buying stocks and buying options and always making these decisions. And we think like we should be operating like a market maker, and we should know how the market moves, and we should be able to get things to the tick, and we should be able to slam 15 minis on a $2,000 prop account. And like, this is all toxic behavior to prevent you from being a good decision maker on the charts, right? What is good behavior is saying, hey, regardless of win or loss, right? There's plenty of times where the daily profile or people in the pack trade group take losses, right? Right? It doesn't mean the system's wrong or right. It has nothing to do with being wrong or right. It's just a concrete, repeatable process that's backed by stats that we can try to align live price with historical data to make decisions around, to make the highest probability trade, right? We're not trying to predict, right? We're not trying to, forecast. We're just on the table. Like, right now, we know that there's a 65% probability that we take out this high, right? The 750 high, right? But live price is currently showing us there's probabilities that this Asia U, there's a 75% probability that this Asia OU gets hit, right? There's definitely high probabilities of this 1835. So if we go false, if live price is telling us that we want to go false and we start stepping back above P12 mid and 9:30 we get above the open, then we can expect that this 65% probability is going to take effect. we can expect that this low of the day is going to hold. We can expect that we're going to end the day higher. And as a matter of fact, we can expect, let's see, we go false, we can expect end the day higher day, right? But if we can't do those functions, then we have to look at the other side of the coin, where that 605 higher day is supported, right? And then we can expect a 10:30 to 12 o'clock low of the day. If New York 2 goes short, right, then we can expect end of day low of day, right? So there's always these decision-making checkpoints throughout the day that tells us, hey, because believe it or not, in most markets, because we ran the numbers, we tend to range one more than we trend, right? Believe it or not, I know it's been a crazy couple of days, right? Intraday 9:30 to 16:15, right? But like, so we know, and same with DWP. So we know that majority of the time, there's going to be probabilities for the bulls and there's going to be probabilities for the bears, right? There's going to be probabilities for the longs versus the shorts. And our job is to say which one's the higher probability, and is live price accepting that probability, or is it rejecting it based off of what it's doing? And this is like important, right? Because, and it all goes back to that repeatable workflow process where this is historical data and this is live price. Are they aligning? If something has a 90% probability, is live price showing the willingness to care about that 90% probability? Or are we hitting these checkpoints in the hour or the 3 hour or the 4 hour that are saying live price wants to go with the 10% of the time, not the 90% of the time? So I'm really glad that we, like went over this, and for the graduating class, like again, once more, we see how it's more important. And it's not that the daily profile is better than everything out there. Absolutely not, right? Like those ICT traders that I respect that follow the same repeatable workflow system that do way better, right? There's support and resistance traders, there's auction theories, but the one common, and we've talked to a lot of these people. I've had JCap come in the room, had Christy Macro, an auction theory kind of trader, come in the room. JD, who bases his decisions off of time, come in the room. We've got more style traders coming in the room, but the one repeatable thing that made them successful wasn't the strategy, was the fact that they follow the same repeatable workflow, regardless of what CNBC is saying, regardless what Bloomberg's saying, regardless what FinTwit is saying. They manage their position, they manage their decision making, and they manage their risk, right? And that's why they've been successful in the type of trading that they do. We've got a prop trader, we got a fund manager, we got a trader that trades live. It does not matter, right? Like, so stop falling for all the noise, right? And just like really, zone in on yourself, right? And what repeatable workflow system are you doing to become a better decision maker, to manage risk around your trades? And it, and then like Michael McConney says it best, right? And like, it has nothing to do with trading, but it has to do with finding yourself. Well, I relate it to finding yourself as a trader, right? The first step is, right, it's always hard to find out who you are, right? It's a lot easier to figure out who you're not, right? And I think the individual trader always has to start with the strategy, but they get so sucked into the strategy mode that they never escape that, right? There's way bigger fish to fry as an individual trader than just the strategy. You find that repeatable workflow system, that strategy that you can do, and then you level up to like, all right, now how do I position size? How do I manage risk? And then you level up again once you figure that level out. How do I add expected value to this? How do I know when to do dynamic position sizing, which is way more important than fixed position sizing? Like when do I risk 1% per trade, 2.5% per trade, 10% per trade? Where does my TP go? Do I shoot for cash flow TP? Do I shoot for extended TP? You can't get to these levels if you don't start with the repeatable workflow system, right? That you can make decisions in any market environment, reverse trend, range, right? Or any volatility environment. Are we volatility expanding? Is the VVIX just exploding in every 5-minute candle, a 50 handle candle? Or are we contracting into these low ranges, right? Doesn't matter the market environment or the volatility environment. Your system needs to see them all, right? And that's what makes you somewhat consistent, somewhat profitable, and gives you somewhat of a chance of being like profitable and consistent. So with that being said, Austin, I know that was a long rant and we got to go live trade, but yeah.
Nah, dude. I mean, I think this was a really good stream. This was a really good, like, little analysis, trade ideas, and yeah, start the day with some good mindset stuff. I want to address some stuff in the chat here, and then we'll get the day started real quick. Stan said this. We got 76 people in here. Guys, if you got value from today's stream, if you just tuned in, just feel free to watch the recording. We try to keep these a little bit short. So that way, if you guys want to catch it right even before the market opens, you still got time. Just watch it at like 1.5x. But if you guys got this, just on your way out, hit that like button. We had a question here by Cap Crypto. You guys trade live in the Discord. Pocket got you, but just wanted to reiterate, yes, we trade live. Monday, we do it for free on YouTube now. We used to do it on Discord. Now we're doing it here on YouTube. Tuesday through Friday, we trade live with the Discord.
And we don't just trade live. We have shows going at all hours of the day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We got Bowie. Bowie's our London. Actually, Bowie just shout out to Bowie. He just, if you guys go on my Twitter and look at the reposted, I just reposted his trade he did yesterday. It was really good. But Bowie's our London trader. Then we got Mickey here. He does his pre-war game about 5:30 a.m. EST. Then we move into the pre-market magic hour with Carl, Drez, and Eldianis. Then we got myself and Mickey for New York. We trade the market open. Then we got PTFX and Cody. They trade the gap between late morning to PM session. Then we got Justin Pocket Aces in here answering your guys' questions. He's trading the PM session. And then we move into every single day. And this is also for free in the Discord. Is we do re-engineering sessions where at 4 p.m. EST, we can just go through, re-engineer the day, what went right, what went wrong. Was it a bad day? Was it a good day? You know, just kind of a little bit of an AAR of how the day did.
You've got our Asia traders. We've got Zay, since I see him in the chat, Quadra and Drez, who trade Asia on Tuesdays on Zay's channel
Yes.
from 1900 to 2300.
Yeah, we got Zay here. Shout out to Zay. Appreciate you hopping in here. He said, I used to be an agile project manager. And man, a lot of what you guys are saying reminds me of what I used to tell my agile teams. Good stuff. Well, I appreciate you being here, dude. And yeah, Zay goes live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You said 7:30, right? 7:30?
Yeah, 7 or 7:30, one of the two.
7:30 p.m. And yeah, two of the people in the group is trading with him. And then you can even, I think Zay said he's going to be hopping in this next upcoming boot camp. So really cool to get to know you, man, and see you guys progress even more. And yes, hit the like button on the way out. When will you accept the waitlist for the October boot camp? Mickey, you want to answer that?
Yeah, so we'll graduate in this class and then we're going to reset, but like you guys should start getting accepted next week or over the weekend, but no later than like Monday of next week. Any other questions?
Thanks for the shout out, Q. All right, guys. There you go, Drez. Tuesday, Wednesday, 7. Tuesday, Wednesday. I said Thursday. My bad. Tuesday, Wednesday, 7:15. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. With all that being said, I hope this was helpful. Go back and watch it if you have to. And let's have a good day. In the week, do not give yourselves a poopy diaper, okay? And we say that as a joke, but people put this weird thing on Fridays where they think they have to end the week with a crazy home run. Guys, Friday is no different than Monday, and it's no different than Tuesday, and it's no different than Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's still just another day. All right, don't do anything crazy or over risk just because it's about to be the weekend, because then you got to sit in it, and it really sucks. So hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay grinding on your goals, and never, ever, ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something they never done themselves. I'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.